Welcome back, everybody. Been a long time, hasn't it? I think so. Sorry about that. I've had some health issues that I've had to take care of, but won't go too into it. You're not here for that. What you are here is for, well, title of the video shows, the easiest elevators made in Space Engineers. And it's only really been possible recently, and most of you have probably honestly figured it out by now. But for those of you who have not, we will get into it. But first things first, you do have to set up your save to accommodate for it. So, what you're going to do is you're going to go to load game. Once it gets there, find your save game. For me, it is going to be main test. Go to edit settings. Once it loads, and we're going to go to advanced because in the last couple Space Engineers updates, a couple things have changed. One, you now need to activate share inertia tensor, unsafe torques for rotors and hinges, and then unsafe piston impulses for pistons, obviously. This is going to allow you to do those higher unsafe, quote unquote, settings that you would not be able to do normally. The only one we're really worried about is pistons, but inertia tensor for sure should be a given, especially working with taller elevators or anything that has multi subgrids. You're going to want this on. And then unsafe torques for rotors and hinges. Obviously, a lot of people will want that on anyway. And then, of course, you can turn off progression because nobody likes that. Then you should be fine. Now, my world is in creative, so I'm not going to get anything. But if you're in survival, this will not affect it. So you'll be fine. Okay? Okay. Then we load in, and I'll see you when we get there. Alright. So, we loaded into the world. Cool. You got all your settings changed. Awesome. Now, there's a couple things I want to go over first before we get into elevators. Space Engineers has had quite a few updates since I've last made a video, and I do apologize. Again, health issues. But there have been some significant changes that I think are important to note before we get into the whole elevator situation. Stuff like projectors being able to have the directions on them. Nice. Always love it. All the way to vents now being able to detect when a room is depressurized. They're great and they help, especially when troubleshooting and logistics and all that. But I think the biggest thing that has changed, and the star of today's show, is the timer block. You see, timer blocks have been used since they were first introduced to basically do manual automation, if that makes sense. So you would use multiple timers, many timers, to do different automation stuff that event controllers and vents and timer block nowadays can do with each other. You used to be able to do it all with just timer blocks. It would take a lot of them, though. But the biggest part about timer blocks now is they can detect different things on, like, hinges, rotors, and pistons. And you can set their angles and distances all within the timer block itself. And that's what we're going to be using, because when it comes to elevators, before that update, you used to have to do it like this for multi-floors anyway. Now, you have a timer block that triggers and an event controller that waits until it's at a specific distance and then stops the elevator. Now, you would need a set of these for every floor, for every direction it wants to go. So you can see here, floor 1, that's fine. Piston just comes all the way down. Floor 1 to 2, you need this to go up, the event controller to watch when it gets there, and then stops it, yada yada. Floor 3 to 2 is all the way up there, coming to middle floor, and then floor 3, piston goes all the way up. And you see I have 4 sets of timer and event controller for 3 floors. That's minimal compared to what some people do. Now, I'm sure some of you have seen the video where we made a 10-story elevator with 3 different floors on it. If you haven't, here's what it looks like. Let's try that out.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
that does look cool.
Now, with that, I use this new way, which makes elevators very, very simple. And the new way is just over here. It is just a single timer for each individual floor. And you can see I have multiple pistons to do it with. So you can do this setup and go 10 stories up with 2 timer blocks. That's it. I have 3 here because I have 3 floors. But it makes it very, very simple. So to start, what you're going to want, don't mind those down there, we won't talk about it, is to go 6 blocks below your floor. I'll explain why here in a second, but you want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you want to come out a little bit of a distance. Now for this one I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out, but you can definitely go further if you want. It's just going to be a bigger platform that your elevator makes. You can see with my platform, it's a, 7 by 7 ish, something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7 by 8. So, I mean, that's a pretty big platform as it sits. And it can go pretty high, honestly. So, what you want to do is go out as far as you think you're going to have clearance for your pistons, depending on how high you're going. And then when you set your first piston down, be sure to name it number 1. That way you can keep things in order. You see I have 1, 2, 3 for my pistons. And then it'll be the same thing for your timer blocks on each individual floor. When you get your piston set up, or at least the name changed, you can start adding all your other pistons. Now I use the pipes here because if we look, their hitbox, that orange box there, does not go all the way to the edge. It only goes to the edge on the faces that it connects to other blocks, which is very handy when building elevators, because that means if this piston happens to go right up against a wall, yes, the piston has a chance to catch, but the pipes do not. So it makes it very nice. They won't hit the wall that they're going next to. It also helps for when we reverse all of our pistons. Let's just grab all of them. And let's set their velocity to negative 0.3. That'll make them come down nice and quick. But you can see as they go next to each other, it's not going to hit the piston that it's next to. And if you alternate them like this, you should have a piston next to a pipe pretty much in every instance. So what I do is I have my first piston, and then what do I have going on here blockwise? Oh, that's why. It's huge. I have my first piston, and then I'll go 90 and 90, and then come down 90 off to the side instead of directly out, which you can come directly out, but we're kind of making a big swirl here. Um, and then you'll go over to, and then same thing. You're basically mimicking this all the way over. After the first piston, where you only come down one, after your second piston, I'm sorry. Your first piston, you'll come down one after you come up and over, and then you go down and over, kind of like a big slalom. After your second piston, you can come down two to keep the clearance the same and keep the rest of your pistons at this same level. That makes sense? So your first piston is going to be the lowest because it's actually attached to the base. All the other ones are going to be up one from that, and you can keep them all the same height. And they will continue to add height to each other the more you go around. And then with the platform, I just have it to where I came up a couple blocks and built the platform off of that. That way we aren't smashing into any of these pipes, any of the other pistons, as the floor comes down to its base level. Okay? That makes sense? I hope so. Moving on. Once you get your pistons done, what you can do, I have an open ceiling, so we'll do it this way. We are just going to reverse and go all the way to the top. What this is going to do is show us our max height and to see if we need to add any more pistons. Now you're going to want to do this before you have any... Oops. Should probably get rid of those. Am I catching on something else? No? Base pistons. Oh, that's why. There we go. Their maximum height was changed. You'll see why here in a minute. But you want to do this before you build the platform. This will tell you kind of how high you have to go, and you can always stand just on the last piston and extend them as you place them. That's usually what I end up doing. But you can see here, I have way more clearance than I actually need. So I could probably get away with just the two pistons. But just for example, because there are some things I want to show you for when you have many pistons, I have three. So that'll work. Alright, now let me get these all back to the bottom. And we can start with the programming side, because this part of the build is actually pretty easy. You just keep adding pistons in a circle like that until you get the height that you require, and you want to go make sure you go to the tallest point, because everything in the middle we can pretty much set on the fly. So once we get down to the bottom, we'll get started. Alright, so now that we're on the bottom, my pistons are fully retracted and we are set, ready to go. If your pistons are not level with this floor or your first floor, don't worry about it. It's easier if they are, makes things relatively simple, but you can see mine are already kind of preset with their minimum distance. So if we put that back to 0, you can see my floors are level, but these blast doors are not. And we'll solve that problem in the programming. So don't worry, we'll get to that. But first thing you're going to do, after you have your platform and your pistons and you've figured out your height, what we're going to do is put a timer block for each floor. Now, they don't have to be on the floors. They can be hidden underneath the pistons. They can be in an engineering room or server room. As long as they're on the same grid, you're good to go. And then you'll want button panels for each floor, of course, so people on that floor can request the elevator. And then you'll want a button panel on the elevator itself, obviously, for when you hop on, you can choose what floor you want to go to. Simple enough? Good. Once you get that, come on back. Now, once we get the timers set, I have mine on each floor, so that way you can see the example and understand it a little better. But once we have everything good, we want to make sure our pistons are all in a group. And then we want all pistons except the first one. Do not include the first one in this. So your other pistons in the group, we want to share inertia tensor. That's important. That way you don't have as much of the shaking and bobbing and weaving that pistons tend to do. I also tend to increase the max impulse axis and max impulse non-axis just to help stabilize it a little bit, especially with bigger platforms, and especially if you plan on using it for rovers, ships, anything of the like that can get some serious weight to them. You want to increase those to help with that. Now, with increasing the max impulse and axis and non-axis, you can include the first piston as well. Okay? So, all pistons except the first get share inertia tensor, and then all pistons can increase their max impulses. Hopefully that makes sense. Next, make sure they're named, because that's going to be important. And then we can get to the timers. So in our first floor timer block, we name it floor 1. It's not all that important, but it definitely helps when you're troubleshooting later if you have issues. So for floor 1, we're going to set the delay all the way down. And then in our actions, we grab that group that we made of our pistons, and we're going to go to set and move. Now, I already know if you are on the same level with your platform, the distance is going to be 0.2. Okay? Velocity, this is how fast it's going to set the pistons to go to that spot. We always want this at like 0.2 to 0.5. The more pistons you have, the faster that's going to be. So keep that in mind, because it sets all pistons to this speed, not just one. And then set label, this is just the name of the event basically. So we can set it as floor 1. You want it to be unique so that it's not setting off with the other timers. So we just do floor 1. Alright. Now, on our button panel, if we set button 1, go to actions. If we set it to that floor 1 timer block, and we just hit start, yeah, lag. If we do that, it should line up very smoothly. And you see it set it to that same spot. Now, if we look at our pistons, you can see all of them are at 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. Now, another way to do this, if you want to have the pistons at different heights for any reason, you do not have to. I mean, using the group does the same thing. But if you want the pistons to be at different heights for any reason, you just go back into your timer block, setup actions, and you can do the pistons individually. Now, if you do the piston individually, it'll be the same thing. It's going to show you what its current distance is at, so setting its level is actually helpful beforehand. I'll show you how to do that next. But it'll have its set distance, its velocity again, and its label. So it's not too bad. It's the same exact process as using the group. But it's just as easy to use the group, so that's what I recommend. Now, let's go up to our second floor. So, I already have my second floor pretty much where it's supposed to be. But to change it, I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me clear my second one. So I no longer have where it's saved. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand back a little bit to where I can see this edge pretty clearly. And I'm going to go to my elevator pistons. I'm going to set their velocity to 0.1. And then I'm going to increase the max distance all the way up. And now I'm going to hover over the on-off button because I want to stop it right when those blast door blocks are level with this floor. I'd say that worked pretty well. Yeah. So, I have no idea what level these pistons are at to be able to tell the timer block what to put them at. I could always look in here, see, okay, 1.8, 1.8, 1.8, fine and dandy. Or what I can do is go into my floor 2 timer block, which that has a capital F for some reason, and the other ones do not. That bothers me. Set its delay to 0. Set up actions. Go to our group. Set and move. And it's already got the exact distance in there. So we don't have to change that. Okay? You can skip that part. Just click OK. Now we can set our velocity. We're going to set it to 0.2. Go to OK. And do floor 2. Again, unique name. Just call it whatever floor you're going to. Now, let's just go over here because it's not wanting to show me. If we do floor 1 start, floor 2 start, and I'm going to go ahead and put floor 3's timer block on here, and we'll set that one when we get up there. But if I set that to floor 1, it should activate the timer down there, which it did not. Why did it not? Because my pistons are still off. So make sure those are on. Then it automatically started, went right to it, and boom shakalaka. We're down on floor 1. Now, if we hit floor 2, I already have this one set up for that timer block. It should take us right to floor 2. And let's see if it's a nice smooth transition. It is. Perfect. Now, we can do the exact same thing as many times as we want with each floor. So we go up here, we go to our button panel, go to our pistons, max distance, and then we will shut it off as soon as those blast door blocks are at a nice enough spot to where it's a smooth transition. That's good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it's nice enough. So then what we do, go to our timer, set up actions, set and move. Remember, we're on the group, elevator pistons. Set and move. It's already at its correct distance. 0.2. And floor 3. Perfect. Now that we have all 3 of our floors, we go floor 1 start, floor 2 start, floor 3 start. And now, if we go to floor 1, I forgot to turn the pistons back on. Always remember to turn the pistons back on after you've done the timer block. And it goes past floor 2. And it is going to take us all the way to floor 1. Look at that. And honestly, guys, that's it. Elevators are stupidly simple now because the timer block has been updated to include stuff like this. That's not all these can do. So I will be doing videos on other stuff that you can do with these. But you can include hinges, you can include rotors. It's hard to imagine the limits with just a timer block. And I'll get more into that in other videos. But that's it. If you want a 10-story elevator, or even just a multi-floor elevator in a smaller base, that's how you do it. I hope it's been informative. Ooh. Speedy. And why is my leg in the air? That's fine. I'm just going to Captain Morgan it now. Alright. If you don't know what that is, you're too young. But I hope it's been informative. Hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you learned something. We'll catch you in the next episode. Have a good one, everybody.